Welcome to Satsang. Here, no? Here. It's not working well. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Like that?
Yes.
Hear again and again that who you really are is already there. You have not to search for it. You can never lose who you are. And if you have the experience, the impression that you lost a state, you lost something, you speak of something else. You speak of the mirage appearing on you. So the most important is through satsang, know not to confuse yourself, learn not to confuse yourself for what it is not. So, in other words, I say, spot where the mind appears. And if you already know it is the mind, automatically, or at least more and more, your knowledge is, I'm not what I can see. I'm not what appears. So, it's true it has to be heard, especially that we heard and believed in so many other things, so many other directions. And so they have to be boycotted by the truth which comes from what's real, from who you really are. So there is no direction to take, there is nothing to attain. What may happen is that if you search, know that you are in your mind, you still believe it looks like real, yet it's a confusion. So unhook the object of your mind and let's see how long I, who has the mind, can stay alone. How long? And where you are left, don't use your mind. It's that itself which will reveal itself by itself. And in the world of appearance, there will be no sign to confirm what you search or you're finding. There is no sign, there will be no sign of something which proves you are realized. You are already realized, only you are listening too much, you are given too much power to your mind. and the expression of the self is already expressing itself. You don't need to change a iota in it, and you don't need to find a special sign. It is it. Everything is it. But you see, in order to remove the tyranny of the mind, the hypnotism with the mind, you have to negate everything first. That's the most direct way. After, of course, being able to say, to hear, you are that. And that's it. If you can, if you cannot, then negate. Any question if you are searching? Yes? But you need a mic. Where is the mic? Not the mic.
The mic.
Mic.
Shadow.
Thank you. Ganga, what I don't get is, you say everything is mind. How can I spot the mind? Everything is mind.
The one who is in the mind will spot first all the objects that he believes it's real, he believes as real. So you negate, I'm not this, I'm not this. And then where do you go in the end? I am without anything, and yet I'm not realized. That will be left. Yeah?
That's where I'm at.
That will be left. You know that place or not? So first go there, and then I will reply to you.
Checkmate.
You know why I do that? Because if I tell all the answer in advance, you will make it a something. While if I tell when it's the moment, you may be struck. And when one is struck, it gives up. You don't need to accept, you can still ask if you like. Because you see this, if you take this, what is negating the mind? It is to arrive to its annihilation as a something. It still appears and will disappear, but it will be devoid of reality. Let's speak like that. Or it's unreal by nature. It will be seen like that. It's called the mind surrenders. And when the mind surrenders, again, what's left? Don't try to reply with the mind. because we left the mind behind. We just say what's left after the mind surrender. The answer is the fact to be what's left. And it is meant by you are that. And that the mind cannot contain. That's why it cannot understand it. It cannot describe it. It rather contains the mind.
It contains the mind.
Yeah, the mind appears in it or upon it. Where otherwise? Where is it? Where it appears? There is no other place. Places are in time and space, huh? The notion of space, of places, of location. It is the field of the mind. But ask, because it's only when you empty your mind, when you really give space to this mind, that it hears better.
You see, the moment I is always in a place.
Who sees that?
Yes.
Who sees that? What sees that? Keep quiet from where you see that. Because the subject is not I, always going in a place, you're right. The subject is that which can see that. I am that which can see that. Hmm? Otherwise, you see, it means there is still an attraction to see, and so to grasp a place, an understanding, whatever. And the realization is exactly the opposite. It's maybe you see, but the focus is on that which sees. It's not on seeing. Mm-hmm. Where?
The one who sees, let's say I'm now looking at me speaking to you. So there is a speaker and an awareness that I am speaking.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
But
now.
what sees that there is a seer and a seen? What sees that? You cannot see what you are. So what sees that? As long as you can objectify I, you see, you create more I. Subtler and subtler, it will be infinite process. You can always say it's I, but another I created to see I see you. Okay?
Yeah.
That's what happens with the mind. It creates infinite beyonds
Yeah.
and infinite priors. It can't stop, it is the time. You see?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now, what I try to convey is stop mentation, but let's take what you say and I just tell you the fact, but then you have to take it, not to go to divide this way, that way. That is mentation, that's the mind working again.
Okay.
So, what makes you able to see there is a seer and a seen? The answer you cannot be in the mind. The answer is just you are it.
There is a quietness, and this quietness is still there.
Okay.
But I don't know, is this quietness a platform?
No.
Because sometimes my mind came at the corner and say, oh, you are boring, you do nothing. And I'm not sure, is this a platform where
Be sure it is a platform, otherwise you cannot describe it and speak about it.
Okay.
Yes. And that creates the boredom on the other side. So be freed from that means there is nothing to accept or reject, but when it appears, something appears. It's not more real than something else, it's the mind. I'm not what I can know. And then I want to see if it is boring. Yeah. You see, there is no much other solution. Or the mind shines and has its full rainbow of what you know very well, or the self, what's real, your nature, shines. So, when the mind shines and you think, oh, this is real, no question. It's like that. Then comes the seeker. Oh, is it like that? Maybe there is something else. And that starts to shake a bit all the thing. And when one doesn't listen to his mind anymore, the self shines. And from here, expression, no expression, there is no attraction even to clear up anything. It's the self which shines. But for that, one has not to listen to his mind. And if he still listens, good to ask questions. because in that way, it's a way to empty the mind. To empty it enough, it will never be a total emptiness. I don't have that concept. But empty enough to leave some space to peep, to hear the direction proposed in satsang. So good to ask questions, even if you have the knowledge, oh, it's just mind, but if you are visited by strong questions, ask. Ask. Their power may be removed. Their meaning may be removed. So in satsang, it's rather the mind is less and less crowded rather than more and more. The goal is not to have an empty mind, but the goal is to hear, to wake up, to wake up. Yeah.
What you said now just encouraged me to ask.
Yes.
That today morning I did the self-inquiry.
Yeah.
And I already seen earlier that all thoughts is just coming in from the mind, and it's just coming and going, and this is not me.
Yeah.
And this was seen also today. And then, if I remove all these, just nothing remains. And then there is this nothing, and I stop. And
But nothing is also an answer, huh?
yeah, but
Is the mind trying to describe its void? Well, there is nothing here. But then it's a thought, it is a comment of the mind again, yeah? Okay.
yeah, at that moment I didn't see, but during satsang I realized that it was like that. But,
Very good. Very good.
So if I do again, I know that again just thoughts will come again and again.
Well, no, do it fresh, huh? Do it fresh, otherwise you never give you a chance of waking up. Don't do it fresh. You never know how it will happen. Even if it happens more than 100 times the same, the 101 time is different. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Like you hear, if you read or hear the testimonies of everyone, oh, I heard that for 20 years, only today I heard. If you don't give that chance, that time will never come then. No? It happens. It may take time, you see, to really, really be clear, to spot the mind. It doesn't take time to keep quiet in the self, or to abide in the self. Yeah.
place when there's trouble.
Right.
I mean, I would like to be still always. I mean, there's highs and lows, but in the lows you can be quiet mind.
Or when you are happy, you like so much to be happy that you surely don't want to question anything. That's why, I tell you, that's why it is known that, for example, those who are too comfortable in life, or those who are too sattvic, means who have those quality of light and peaceful moods, it's more difficult for them to wake up because they are already quite well.
Yes, because I can imagine that if you attach to the happy feeling too much, then it goes away.
Yes. So that's why you see when a seeker takes this path, a seeker, let's say, for liberation, because he works towards the source of the mind, he gives up a lot of fears, anxiety, and things like that. So as a consequence, the life of the seeker becomes better. There is a kind of gift, I would say. But the gift is also dangerous, because if you never had some pleasures, suddenly they are offered, and of course nothing wrong with that. One can taste them. But then it's a bit like that story of the king who opened the gate of his park before one could meet him. They can enjoy. So a sangha, a group who goes to satsang, is a bit like, they enjoy more the life now because of what I said. But then on the way, it's very possible that we forget to meet the king, the self. Why? The reason we enter in the park. So when there is this kind of wave in life, be grateful. It's a gift. Thank you. But I don't want that alone. I will not forget why I went towards this path, this direction. It happens a lot to stay in the park and then the sunset arrives and the king disappears because the condition was to come and see him before sunset. Means sunset is when the body dies. Ay, ay, ay. And some people, they want freedom to enjoy more life. They have already that goal before. I will realize so that I can enjoy much more the life. That's boycotting the whole thing. You have to want to know really you are freely alone, you know? Yeah, it's uncompromising in that way. Yeah, the mic.
Hello, Ganga. From this morning, I got from you that I don't have to mind my mind at all, since that is already here. And this is giving me such a kind of relief to
Absolutely.
that I can, so because Papaji said stop, stop, and but I don't have to make my mind stop,
No.
because that's not my job, so to say.
Mhm.
It's doing its thing, and this being stopped is already here, so to
Yeah.
say.
Great, fantastic.
Yeah, so I want to thank you for that.
Well, I thank Papaji. So he had also a beautiful sentence. He said, mind, no mind, never mind. Great, huh? You have no question?
Don't know anything at all.
Yeah, but then, okay, yes. But then you hear me speaking. You understand everything? No. Okay, but then you can ask. I don't understand why you said this. You see, I tell you that because you are young. You are very lucky to be young, to be in satsang. But what is a satsang? You see, it is a way to clear up your mind. And for that you have to present what you believe in, or what you feel is on the way for you to, you know that it is to realize oneself. You know that. Okay. No, but I mean, all those words are not so obvious. Huh? Okay. So, which direction to take, you know? Maybe you know. I just, you see? You're sure? Or
No, I feel like no direction.
you don't know the direction?
No, I mean like like no direction.
And you are able to go in no direction.
It's just that maybe there's a fear that like it leads nowhere. Sorry.
Yeah, there is a fear,
I think.
yeah, to be nowhere.
No.
Yes, but that is a question to ask. Otherwise, what you will do is that you will keep it. How can it be solved? So, you see, that's why I say, if anything looks like an hindrance, or you have fear to hear or follow what is said, you have to tell it. You have to tell it. Because it means that for you has a meaning. So you give reality to that. Isn't it? Otherwise you would not care. Yeah? So whenever you express a feeling or understanding or a sensation, know that there is, what's first, a sensation or I was a sensation?
That's just nothing like this.
Yeah, but you see, you learn that, but you cannot apply it. If you were up to what you say, I is just what? Nothing. Yeah, you said that?
Well, I can't locate anything. Like,
You can't locate anything.
yeah, like there's
So who cannot locate anything?
something looking, sort of. Feeling.
You can call
Where?
it I. Why are you afraid of telling us I?
I don't know.
Yeah, but you have to know. You have to know, my dear, because otherwise you will remain in confusion. You dare to say words, even if you don't like them, because you hear it, they are unreal. But be a fighter. Face your garbage. Don't try not to have it. Otherwise, where it will disappear, when? Very good. I'm happy about that. Okay? So I sees I am not located or I am nowhere, okay? So the problem is not much about location. The problem is that you locate yourself in I. That is the confusion. Yeah? But dare to say I. And you know what I would tell you for a day, because tomorrow we may meet. You come tomorrow? Up to tomorrow. Just observe that whatever happens to you, even with spiritual zones like nowhere and so on, just see that you cannot express anything if I first doesn't arise. Okay? Just see that. To be convinced that I is so important, the rest is secondary. I create the confusion of who you are because it is I am born. Look, this body, it's I am born in this body mind. So you will understand why then it is so important to question I after. But you have to be sure that you confuse yourself with I first. You have to be clear about that. If it is not so, convince me then.
No, I can't.
Okay. So you will do that? You will see it can go very quickly. Okay. Because very strangely, the mind is so clever, especially when you take this path, you see, inner path. When one takes this path, he goes nowhere at some point. He knows those things, even experiences them, and he forgets totally that I goes nowhere. When I is the main target of this path. So be sure that I is always rising, and it's because you hook at it that an object, I exists only when it's hooked at an object. And the object can be very subtle. It can be nowhere too. Okay? Like that. Yeah, you can.
This I,
Yeah.
I feel like they're like two. So there's I thought and I,
Okay.
like just the sense of just sort of being like it's almost in the body maybe.
Yeah.
So there's like two.
I think there are even more than two, but I tell you, it's the same. It's the same I. And sometimes you go in your head, sometimes it goes in the heart or in the body, but it's the same I. The same rising I based on I'm born. And that creates I am thus, I am this body mind. And that is the mistake, the confusion. But to be able to question that, be sure that, yeah, I see the world because I wakes up. Or I can experience anything. There is not an experience existing like this out of the blue. There is I who rises. So there is an experiencer as an experiencer. And then there is this experience. So be clear about that. Okay. Very good.
I don't want to express a lot of confusion now.
I don't mind. I enlightened mind, and the others will close their ears. No, be freed from everything. Yeah.
I recognize that it's the mind because I can say on the one hand and on the other hand what I want to say.
Okay.
And it's about this if this realization is a fact, is this life in the body-mind lived from another source? Because you often say things just happen to this person. We have no influence on it. It's the life.
Oh, you
goes
can
by
have,
itself.
but in reality, because it must have been like that. I mean, okay. So, if there is a source
If
of
you
what?
If there's realization, if I can say, not only I know this, but I come here and this is my life, or this is, I still have this idea that this person can be, can do the best or something.
Yeah,
like
okay.
It can. So
Yeah.
it matters what this person does in the life also. I don't know how to. It's not important in the sense of satsang. It's not at all important what the person does. And still, you dedicate your life to this, what you're doing, and it's valuable for many people. Other people do other things. You can say there's no judgment in here, but can one say a person has a call or a fire to express, to be?
But you never know. It's not your choice, you see. It's not the choice of someone. It may happen this way, it may happen in a totally different way, it may not even happen and people get a bit attracted just by a presence. And so you never know the shape it takes in the expression. And it's not also needed. It's needed, but then you don't need also hundreds of teachers, because there are not so many who want liberation. You need a few, that's enough. It's not the choice of anybody, because if it was the choice, then what? Then what? It's arrogance. How I can save the world. I have the mission to save the world. Good luck. Let's see after 10 years how it comes. No, you have to be very careful. So don't worry about what will be your life after. Really don't. Probably it will continue the same way, devoid of the real anxiety and so on. It may also change. And with time, now I speak, with time, a few tendencies may slow down or disappear, but it's never the doing of somebody.
This I'm clear about that somehow, that I can't do it, and as long as I try,
Yeah.
that's not it.
Okay.
And
So, but what's your question? There is a question there, but
Yes.
it's about what? What about?
it's about, I know that 1 year ago I asked the question how to live your life,
Yeah.
and it's not that I come here to ask how should I live my life, but it's more that from the point of I have to go into my mind to be that person. I have to do as if
It's not you
somehow
have
it's
to,
still-
it will happen.
Yeah, it happens.
Okay, you have not to, it happens. It's different.
And there is something which I don't understand still, or where I'm.
But you see, if you have a question, it means, if you have some, it means you stopped on the way. You are not, you are, it's not a fact, the fact of realization.
As long as I don't ask this question, then
No. No. The mind is clear after that, you see. Which kind of question can you ask? It means, I'm sorry, you will not like to hear, but it means you probably arrived, and I believe so, in a very deep state, which make you believe that that's what I am. But as it is not really that, the mind has still a power to ask a question and is a bit in trouble.
and that's my greatest fear, to have in Dutch it's a state, like a fake.
But that's what I denounce. It's for your good. So it means
Yes.
you have a platform of realization.
Mhm. So
Now you know it.
Take it.
No, it is. I cannot do anything for you. I can point it out. So now that you know it, when it presents itself, say, no, my mind, no more. I will not be fooled by that. But you don't reject. Just knowing is enough. It will go by itself, and I tell you, both troubles will go by itself. Maybe it will take some time because there is this habit to have fed it. But don't worry. Every time it appears, no, I will not be fooled this time. And from where you can have this authority, be there. Can you be somewhere else? Surely not. Huh? You hear me?
I wonder when do you know that it's no more.
This question is from somebody.
Yes.
It will not come when somebody is not there.
Or if it's quiet.
Quietness is not permanent. So when it's not permanent, it will be there. That's what happens now. Because the quietness, or I don't know what you call it, is not permanent, but you take it for real. So it brings, when it goes, then the mind works again with power. Otherwise, the mind works again, but with no power. Huh? So just be concerned now by the realization, you take it for it, which is a state. And then you are freed from that state. Because if you, probably you cherish that state.
I'm very grateful somehow to
Yes,
have this life.
of course we are grateful. But don't stop on a toffee.
No. But my old conditioning is also to reject this person, to have the.
I don't tell you to reject. No.
And
Don't.
this
Why you went to the past? We are
yeah,
here.
okay.
You are beautiful. You don't reject the person. The person even knows a beautiful state, a spiritual state which looks like that. But now you are an adult, you can hear. It's not yet it. That's why it creates some disturbance, some questions, some non-understanding. Of course, because I'm not even that state. Let me be freed from that state.
But where do I know that? That's it in my mind.
You need wisdom now to follow the indication. Otherwise, why to say any word? You don't understand silence. Okay? Do it.
This morning you said that self-inquiry I am is not a practice. What do you mean by that?
It is a practice in the sense that you take that indication, that sentence, to go from where it disappears. But if you make it like intensive weekend on I am, and you repeat I am, who am I, who am I, what's the result? No result. Or a few experiences, of course, but no real result. Because you see then the mind chewing with the hope that it can be repeated, not to go where it has to go. So clever, this mind. So it's always better to ask this question like it's a golden question only when I allow myself to be free now. Then ask. You know?
Okay.
Yes.
So the question is better than the statement.
Yeah, sure. It has a direction.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
A question about the I. It's still confusing me what the I, what you speak about, is really meant. This is not my first satsang. I've been to the satsang with somebody else.
Yeah.
And in a way, when there was spoken from the I, that's a personal I, the I which is from the, well, we never attended satsang. You say, who am I? And then you would say, well, I'm the body, But that is, I've learned that it's not the real I.
Yeah.
And more like the consciousness, the isness. That is the real, the true self. Which I are you talking about? I do not understand. There's a difference in definition.
Okay.
Seems to be.
When I say I, generally it is this rising I with whom we identify. It is the one we think we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
The one of this body-mind.
Yes, it's not
No.
the true self.
No.
And that's
Yeah,
my
you
question.
understand.
Right.
Okay. No, we can't. Well, Ramana Maharishi said I to mean the real nature, to mean the self in my language. Yeah, you are right to ask. It's okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. But you see, I just make it be vigilant not to describe who you really are. Because you see, of course, those, myself, I said this self. Okay, it means something, what, I don't know, but it's pointing out. It means your real nature. Because the thing with isness, beingness, is a bit tricky. Because it can be an experience also. So I would not even try, it's even nearly too much, because it can be tricky with time. It becomes like a concept. Yeah? Yes, please.
So, I have maybe strange question. How important is it to appreciate not knowing? I mean, if the mind wants to understand and what we are is beyond the mind or whatever. I hear what you say, but if I try to understand,
You will not?
no. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So if I just hear what you say, it goes into this place where it disappears into silence or something.
Don't name it. I think it is not said enough in satsang that to name, even with the names which looks pure, eternity, silence, isness, whatever, you introduce a one who owns it now. Be vigilant. What surrender, you see, is when the mind doesn't enter here. Not before. Thank you.
Ganga, I want to ask a question. Maybe for my friends. I think she doesn't know why she should be here, why she need to be here. So that's my question, because her mother has cancer, and she has 2 babies to take care. But I still bring her here. So I think maybe for her, she has a question why she need to be here.
Then nobody obliges anybody to come.
Sorry?
Nobody obliges anybody.
No, because my master asked me to bring her here, so I tried to say, please come, please come. And then
You ask your master why?
No, my master asked me to ask her to come.
Okay.
So
Welcome. Okay, she doesn't know why she has to come.
I think she doesn't know why she needs to come.
Yeah.
So because her mother has cancer and she has a lot of suffering for now, and she has 2 babies to take her at home. So today she really get rid of everything to just come here. So I think it's very important for her to understanding why she needs to be here. Do you want to say something?
Maybe to face, not to follow her fear when her mother is suffering. That she hears that to help her mother, she should not follow her own fear. Then her mother will be quietened also. Okay? You understand?
I think peace for myself doesn't have peace for my mother.
Will help.
Will not.
That thought is very pernicious. I think that the peace in yourself will help your mother. You know Ramana Maharishi, you know him? You have heard about him? Okay, it's our spiritual grandfather. He was peaceful, and we still speak of him today. Because everybody feels peace thinking of him.
But physically, I cannot help her.
To what? What? Please, what?
Physically, I cannot help her.
Physical.
No, physically. You can love her.
I tried to convince her this morning. I say, I heard a story of Papaji. So one disciple, he's almost died, and he died already. And the mother of this disciple asked her, invite Papaji to their house, and she just hiding this fact that her son died already. So Papaji come in. I learned this story from nothing ever happened. I really believe in it. So I say, bring some people to the saint, the saint person. They can help them. So in this story, so Papaji just come in, and he didn't realize that this disciple died. So he said, get up, get up. And suddenly, this person just get up. But before, people already think he died already. So this morning I tried to say this to her. I said, come, come. Maybe you will benefit from the satsang and you can also help your mom. Because my mom was about, I have a brother, she's dying. She's so young. The last time I tell you, you say, what can you do for her? I said, nothing. And then you said, yes, that's true, you can do nothing for her. That is.
I do my best. Beyond beliefs.
Yes.
That's why you see, it's very urgent to know that only the body and the mind dies, not who you really are. Because with this life we never know what happens, huh? So it's very urgent to make it a fact, that you are not the body, not the mind. And the one who realizes it, you see, and I speak to you, to all of us, to myself also, he will then take the event of death as an event. I'm not that. I've seen some going like that. They were in satsang for a very long time. And it's a beautiful, beautiful example of abidance in the self. So I tell you, that confidence, that peace that you are when you don't confuse yourself for the body-mind is very contagious. Don't underestimate with thoughts which are boycotting the peace. Just try to trust, and that be a contagion, maybe very immediate contagion in the other. You never know. You never know. And anyway, if it doesn't happen just now, it will happen one day. The seed is there.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
is it that is working in the presence of the Guru?
It is exactly the obvious fact to not to go in the mind. And that will be an attraction for the one who wants the same. Because you know what's a guru? A guru is not a teacher who delivers a course and then you learn more. No, a guru rather removes all what you hoped at so far, because what will be left will be your pure nature, and then you, by automatically, you know what is the mind, what is the nature of what appears, which is the real knowledge, in fact. But that knowledge comes only when you removed all other knowledges. Very strangely. So a guru dispels the ignorance, the belief of the ignorance, through his own self. He will try. The self has compassion, you see, when there is a search for the self. It has a compassion, naturally, to wake up the self in the one who searches for it. So don't listen to your mind. Because if you speak from the mind, eventually you can reach what the teacher speaks, but you will remain in the mind. But then you don't call them a guru. A guru is a Sanskrit name. The one who removes the beliefs you are ignorant. Or the belief that you are someone.
Is there any other indication?
They all go to the same. All of them. If not, just tell me and I will see. Yeah. Because satsang is to be in the company of your own self, that you already are, but now somehow, if you give any power or reality to your mind, you are in the company of the mind. Yeah? So the joy of satsang, the love in satsang is to remind you, don't crowd yourself with the mind. Don't crowd, you are not what appears, you are from where you can see the appearance. So it will only say that in different ways, maybe, but it will only say that. There is no other subject for satsang. Really not. Yeah. Okay.
I think it's better to ask questions in the more calm mode. Yeah, because I came here not only for my mom, also I'm always in the life. I'm also always seeking who I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice.
I think I understand a lot of things can be fake.
Yes.
So what you say is not true.
Ah,
So
I say it's not true.
yeah,
Okay.
I also try to how to say.
If it is not, listen, if it is not true, then don't listen more, because then it's not good. It
Yeah.
means that you know which path to take, which probably is a bit different, then follow that one. Okay. I wish you the best.
I wanted to ask you, because you seem very fearless, where do you take this fearlessness from?
From what you are.
It's the same with confidence.
There is a natural authority from where you are, you see. Because you don't flicker with your mind, which change moods all the time, which fights for opinions, true and true, black, white. I am not trusting my mind. I trust from where I speak and from where I may not speak. I am not searching anymore what's true, what's untrue. That search has gone. So I'm free to say whatever I say. I never impose. I have no mission. Everybody is free to come. And everybody is free to go.
Also, you seem to be like very untouched by the reaction of other people, or like untouched, like personal untouched, or if that's true.
I can react. According to circumstances, I have quite a bad temper. I'm not proud of it, it's just like that. But, this person, I didn't work much in therapy to remove that.
Or maybe do you feel touched by other people, or you don't feel touched?
I don't care.
You don't care?
I really don't care. Attached, not attached, it's not my thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are not touched.
I don't make that conclusion, I
If you will not be, I would like to
Sorry?
if you will not be touched, I would like to ask you how to do it.
How do you do it? Not to be touched.
I replied, I don't say I'm not attached, I don't know. To realize yourself, to make to make what is already, and it is in you, a fact. You don't care anymore about the person. It's like I just said, or the mind shines, or the mind, the person is omnipresent, or the self means the real nature shines. And then the rest will not really be, it's seen, not seen, it's no more valuable, you see?
Thank you.
So the preferences are from the mind.
Yeah.
And is it also the mind that can choose to follow or not follow according to the preferences? Is that also the mind?
Of course it is the owner of the mind.
Yeah.
You know, there is a big text, I think a Chinese text. It starts like this. The great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. Now I translate this way. The great way is not difficult for those who are not attached to their preferences.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. So being attached is a quality of the mind.
Yeah.
It's all mind, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's all mind.
It's all mind.
Only. And in order to dedicate a moment to realize yourself, don't attach yourself to any preference. Just for a minute. Papaji calls it even a split second. don't attach yourself, not to create this person as real again. You see? Yeah. Yeah. Then the force of habits may again come, but because of that split second, you see, you have been freed for a split second. So repeat that split second, so that the reality of the split second ruins the habits. Yeah. Till that even goes. But that's not up to you. Who cares? Already, what a blessing. You don't know the value of this blessing of a split second.
Isn't it amazing that we are able to talk about this? Isn't it?
It's amazing. But we speak more about what it is not, I must say. Yeah. But it's amazing that, it's always very fresh. There is a big joy, a big attraction, you see, for that. So. somebody wants to say anything? We meet tomorrow if you like.